Hey, what's up everybody? It's Squirrely Indy. Just going to give a little review of my bicycle that I'll be taking on the American Trail Race. I've had quite a few questions on what I'm going to be bringing and what type of equipment I'm going to be using. And it's been a lot of trial and error. One of the cool things about bike packing is it's fairly new as far as popularity. It's gaining popularity, but it's, I guess you could say, somewhat underground. So a lot of the gear that I've come across, either my friends have used or we've read reviews online, and we try and find out what the pros are using to maybe gain a little bit of an advantage or make life easier on yourself. So hopefully I can give a little bit back to the bike packing community. Shout out to the pros, like the late Mike Hall, Matthew Lee, Lael Wilcox, Juju Bug, all those people out there that are helping the sport gain popularity and sharing some of their feedback on gear and what they like to use. And good thing to keep in mind is that what works for me or what works for some of them is probably not going to work for you. I've been training for the American Trail Race for 8 months now, from a clean slate, never bike packed before. So I've learned a lot, I've tried a lot, I've bought a lot of gear, I've sent a lot of gear back, and I have a training partner, Mike, who is great. We like to bounce ideas off each other quite a bit, and maybe this will work better than the other thing or something like that. Maybe he likes this, but sometimes it works for both of us, sometimes it doesn't. So without further ado, I'll get into my bike that I'll be taking on the American Trail Race. So when I first started talking to Mike when I was living in Colorado, we were going to do the Tour Divide, and one of the first bikes he recommended was Salsa Fargo. And I immediately started looking for one, and I found this one on eBay. So this was a used 2012 Salsa Fargo Ti. Ti just simply means titanium. Titanium is going to be lighter than steel and not quite as light as carbon fiber, but it's a really good price point. It'll give you some dampening properties that steel might not give you, and does not corrode, so you're not worried about it being out in the elements, which it's going to be quite a bit. So that's a size large frame. And to give you an idea of bike weight, the frame actually weighs by itself about 3.8 pounds, and the bike without any of these water bottles or this bag, simply the frame bag up here and up here, so no water weight, weighs 29 pounds. So you're looking at, without my gear, I've already added 25 pounds of weight to this bike. Most of that's going to be in the tires and the drivetrain, but we'll go over some of these things that I have on there. So that's the frame. It's a 2012 Salsa Fargo Ti large. I'm 5'10", and it fits me really well. I'm on the smaller side of the spectrum as far as its range, but I've grown to really like it. Move into the wheels. I actually had my wheels built out by Sugar Wheel Works in Portland, Oregon, and these are one of the newer models that they just released by Stan's No Tube. It's the ZTR Arch. That is a 29 wheel size. I believe they're Sapum spokes. I have black spokes in the rear and silver spokes in the front. Brass nipples, which are preferred over alloy, although they do weigh a little bit more. They are going to provide you with a little bit more durability and corrosion resistance as well. So for the front hub, I have a generator hub. This is a Shutter Precision SP8. There's the electrical connector, and basically that's what's going to charge all of my electronics. Once you get to a certain speed, it's going to send power through this wire, and there's a converter in here. So This switch, which is made by K-lite, I bought a complete setup from K-lite in Australia. If I flip it forward, it's going to give power to my light, and I switch it back, it's going to charge my cache batteries. I'll have 2 cache batteries in this top tube bag. Moving to the rear wheel, same Stan's ZTR arch, and this is where my build got a little bit pricey. I went with a White Industries bright pink hub, and that's for my friend Amanda, who unfortunately passed away, and I like to remember her when I'm riding. It gives me strength when I don't have any. I did a Leadman series and I wore a lot of glitter and some tutus, and I got a lot of weird looks, but I also got a lot of laughs. And I think, like I said, it gives me some strength when I need it. Okay, moving on to the brakes. Well, I guess we go with the skewers. All the skewers are Salsa, which came with the bike when I bought it. Brake rotors are going to be, I have 180 in the front, and in the rear it's a 160. They're both Shimano SLX ice technology. I couldn't run their high-lined ice technology because it would run into the brake pads for the BB7 brakes. Brakes are mechanical pull road brakes. They are the BB7s. Reason for going mechanical versus hydraulic: when you're out on these races, you may be going 100 miles in between stops where you can have services. Actually, probably longer if you're looking for a bike shop. And it's real easy for me to carry. If I snap a cable, I can put an extra cable in this bar here. Some people will put them in their seat stays. Anyways, they're really easy to adjust. They're really easy to fix if they do break. They are very reliable. A lot of the pros use them. So I have those both on the front and the rear. You see these red knobs? You simply turn those left or right, and it will push your brake pads into your rotor. So it's as simple as a couple clicks, and you're having maximum brake power. With the fork, I switched over from the Salsa Firestarter steel fork to a Ritchie WCS carbon fork that is basically built to the same specifications. Couple reasons for that. First one, pretty obvious maybe, is the weight savings. The steel fork that originally came with it was 3 pounds, and this one is 1.5 pounds. The second reason, with riding a rigid bike, everything's coming straight through the fork up your headset, and you're going to feel the vibration in your hands. So carbon fiber has some dampening properties that steel does not have. It has a lot more flex to it. If I hit my front brake hard enough, I can actually get this wheel to come back and kiss the lip of this bottle. So if you picture yourself going down a washboard road, your fork's going to move in a little bit like this. The tire pressure on your wheel is going to help alleviate some of those bumps, and if you're doing a long race or you're out for multiple days, it's going to really help alleviate some of the pain in your hands. Lighting system is dynamo powered by the hub down here that we talked about. This is the hand-built K-lite system from Australia. It has 3 LEDs. This is the control box for that, so when you're actually running your light, you have a low power and a high power. It's the difference between 700 and 1200 lumens. For 75% of your riding, you can probably get away with 700 lumens, but it's nice to have those extra lumens. And on the rear, we have this guy right here is a Blackburn Mars 2. It's a simple battery operated light. They say they're waterproof. I went ahead and put some dielectric grease in there to make sure it's been waterproof, and I've been rained on quite a bit. In addition to that rear light, especially after the passing of Mike Hall, I started thinking about my visibility a little bit more. I'm on the road quite a bit. Cars aren't really the best at seeing you. So real quick, I added these reflector strips right here, so my mother would have a little peace of mind. They're on there. They're also on the back of my bindle rack, as well as this is the back of my helmet here. So I'm just adding a little bit more visibility, so hopefully people can see me when I'm out there. And for some reason my batteries die, like I said, there's some reflectors there. Okay, so let's get to the handlebars. These are what are called drop handlebars for a mountain bike. Salsa Fargo is designed to have drop handlebars. If you're familiar with biking, they look a lot like road bike bars. So the geometry is set up to be very relaxed. This is looking at it straight on. You can see how they flare to the outside. So what's really great about these is it's going to give you multiple positions, hand positions, while you're riding. You have a very relaxed position up here. Probably the position I'm in the most is putting my hands on top of the hoods. And then you can also come down this way. And when you're riding like this, it's really nice. You're going to get a little bit of play up and down when you're hitting washboard, and that also acts as a little bit of a suspension. So with those, I just went with SRAM brakes, short pull levers, super reliable, very basic. They're double wrapped. If you see this blue tape under here, this is what I originally wrapped them in, which is a Salsa cork tape, which has nice cushion to it, but you kind of want to double wrap because you're going to get another layer of cushioning. So I went with something a little bit more durable, and this is the Zip Service Course SL, and this has a nice textured feel to it. Almost feels like it's rubberized, which should hold up really well in the elements. As far as shifters, I went with micro shift, old school style bar end shifters, and these I'm so happy with. If I can get it to focus. All right. Anyways, these are really nice. I can have my hands in multiple positions, and I simply have to drop back to change, or I can pull up as so. And there's only about 5 moving parts in here, so if you need to service that as well, really easy to do while you're on the road. So that's pretty much it for the cockpit. Like I said, this is for my K-lite. That'll control the brightness. This is where GPS will go, and I'll be running a Garmin eTrex 30. There's a cord that comes out and will actually plug in to my eTrex 30. So I have a separate cache battery that will power my Garmin, and when that runs out, I'll be able to switch it over to the backup. So in theory, I won't have to run too many batteries, and I can keep the screen lit, which will help me navigate. I do have the capacity, if you look right there, with the water bottles on each side of the fork, I can carry 5 liters of water. In the parts where there's not a huge distance in between my stops, I'll take the front 2 out, and those will just be disposable bottles like Gatorade bottles or something I pick up along the road, and I can toss when need, or if I find a recycling bin, recycle. Anyways, the reason to take those out would be for aerodynamics. It is going to slow you down a bit when you have the 2 bottles in there, and those are just attached with some heavy-duty zip ties. And I took 2 old inner tubes of the tires, I wrapped them around the carbon fiber fork to protect it, and then cinched those up, not super tight, but pretty tight. On the front, I have an accessory bag, which will probably be granola bars, or it can be a trash bag. I can simply reach it from the front, so I can just reach in here, grab whatever I need. Did a little customizing grommet work on there. I have some grommets in the bottom as well, so that it will drain water. This top tube, or I'm sorry, this on top of the headset here, this water bottle mount is made by King Cage out of Colorado. I love that when I'm sitting on the bike, the water's right there. So my main 2 water sources, very easy to switch out. Oveja Negra is my top tube bag. This will be all of my electronics. Did a little customization work in here. I don't know how well that'll show up on a video, but that's Velcro. So I took the hard side of the Velcro here, and then I took the soft side and I put it on my cache batteries, so I can stick my cache batteries to the side, which are rechargeable, and then my sending unit from the K-lite, from the Synwave converter right here, that will convert power from my dynamo hub to recharge my batteries. So this will be all of my electronics. And then my main bag is Relevant Designs out of Alaska. Oh no, Oveja Negra is out of Salida, Colorado. Woohoo! Anyways, Salsa Relevate frame bag is made in Alaska. They actually, Relevate makes bags for other bikes as well. They did team up with Salsa, so they're kind of the official brand. So this is custom made basically for my Fargo. Works really well. Oversized zippers on each side. And I have some extra flare on my zippers. I have some good luck pennies. This is the 1978, which is the year my friend Amanda was born. And then on the other side I have a 1980 for my brother Flynn, who passed away about 3.5 years ago. So it's always good to ride with a friend, and keeps me happy. Anyways, moving on. My rear bag is an outdoor research bag. It's a 15-liter bag, and that's about as big as it'll get. That has my entire sleep system in there. We'll go over the sleep system later. But that's just a simple draw cord on the top. But it's pretty heavy-duty fabric and still lightweight, which I like. My saddle is a Brooks saddle, very well-used Brooks saddle. My friend Jay actually picked that up at a bike swap in Salida and gave it to me after we rode the Leadman series. And these are pretty well known. They're a bit on the heavy side, but they do provide really nice comfort. They basically, after 1,000 miles or more, will start to mold to your sit bones. So you're going to be doing a lot of sitting like I am. It's nice to have almost a custom-made seat. Seat post, I went with a Zip Service Course SL seat post, which I believe is for road bikes, but they use them on a lot of the new Salsa Fargos as well. Quick release Salsa on top that came with the bike when I bought it. The bindle rack is what they call this rear rack here, is made by DW, which is Portland Design Works. I did a little modification. It has a really nice lightweight aluminum frame, and there used to be a nice round part that, if you would follow the shape of that curvature of my fingers there, I actually cut that off there and there, so I would have a little more clearance for my bag to sit closer to the seat. And I find if I have it sitting up a little bit on the seat post, I don't have to angle it like this so much. It's a little bit more flat, which that's a personal preference thing. But basically this is attached with 3 buckles, which are all super easily adjustable. Basically unclip that, and you can either pull to tighten or pull this one to loosen, whatever you need to do. It was a little, not hard to get used to, but it just took a while to really enjoy that system. So after I've used it for a few months, I really do enjoy it. So that's about it for bags and water. If you look at the drivetrain, it's I'm running a 2x10, and I have Shimano XT up front. I believe the gearing is 26x36, and the bike came with a 22x32, which was a little small, so I got a little bit upgraded to a little bit bigger chain ring up front. XTR front derailleur, which came with the bike, and then in the back I had to buy a new 10-speed derailleur because it originally came with a 9-speed, and I couldn't quite get it to work with the micro shift. So I've got an XT derailleur in the back. It has one of those clutch levers here. So if you see the play in it, it's got a little bit of swing play. You turn the clutch on and stops that from moving. So it's supposed to, in theory, keep you in all your gears, the right gears, and keep your chain from slapping, if you've ever heard that before. And just an XT 11 by 34 tooth cassette. That means your smallest cog has 11 teeth. Your upper one has 34. So there you have it. This has been man, this has been my source of fun for the last 8 months, and with 5 weeks to go for the American Trail Race, I couldn't be any more happy. Oh, real quick, I guess we'll talk about the tires if you haven't left already. Anyways, I'm gonna run the Continental Race King Protection. This is actually the Race Sport series, which is a little bit lighter, and it only has 180 TPI, which is threads per inch. And I've slashed the back tire twice, actually on the treads, which I've sewn up to fix. So I'm gonna run their Protection series, and that has 240 TPI threads per inch and a little bit more beefier sidewall. So it's gonna run a little bit harsher, and it's going to weigh a little bit more, but in theory I shouldn't have many issues with it, and it's tubeless ready, so it will seal up usually within a week. But the tread wear has been pretty phenomenal. If you can see that, that's, I don't know, 1,500, anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 miles, and there's quite a bit left on there. So I'll take it 3 miles or 3,000 miles to Salida, and I'll get to Absolute Bikes, and I will trade it in for something a little beefier, maybe the X Kings, which have a little bit more tread for the last couple thousand miles. All right, guys, it's a beautiful day here in Coal Valley. Woo woo. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully you're able to follow my adventures on the first ever American Trail Race 2017. Also, stay tuned. I'm going to post a video of the gear that I've whittled it down to my very small gear selection. So that'll include my clothing, repair kit, my bivy sack, things of that nature. All right, be good. Have fun.